You're Awesome 5801 says, why am I a woman? Why are you a woman? Why are you a woman? Why are you dressed as a girl? First, make up your mind. Am I a woman or a girl? Can I be both? Are you using one of those as a colloquialism to refer to both? This is something you should think about, You're Awesome 5801. You know, there is an informative video. I don't know, chat, do we need to see that video again? We've seen that. I'm a lady, says You're Awesome 5801. That is what I like to hear, thank you. But why? I have asked myself that question many times. Why am I in this situation? What did I do in a past life to make me so fucking awesome? Why can't everyone have the same benefits that I now enjoy? Well, the truth is that we may never know. You know, some things just happen. Crudalicious is curious too. Now, okay, so that's 2 votes. You know, maybe we should watch the informative video and maybe I should go grab a drink. We've seen that video so many times. But on the other hand, people love it. What can I say? It's the best thing I've ever made. Probably the best thing I will ever make. But I can try. So, yeah, before we get back into the Fortnite here, why don't we watch the informative video, and I'll go grab myself a drinky bro. Yes, there we go. Informative video. Infomercial, really, is what it is. Sister Mary Elephant has a question. Who cut your hair? That is a great question. Probably someone in a factory somewhere. A hair factory. I certainly haven't. Not on purpose. Have I changed over to a woman, Ronyu? Well, you know, there's an informative video about that. I don't know, chat, do we need to see the video? No, we literally just watched the video. To answer your question more directly, Ronyu, I would say that I'm in the process. I wouldn't be so presumptuous as to say that I have changed over to a woman. One day, God willing, I'll be able to say that and not feel like I've just claimed something that I haven't. Legally, I am. Well, I mean, that's an interesting question because in the US, at least, there is no one legal status. But my driver's license says I am. My birth certificate, I have not updated. Selective service does not recognize gender changes, so you have to register for the draft if you're, you know, born male and stay registered forever. Or if you happen to be a trans man, then you can enjoy all the benefits of being a man without having to sign up for the draft ever. I think I've probably aged out of the demographic where I have to care about that, but you never know. What makes me feel like a woman, Ronyu? That is a great question. I would say the things that make me feel like a woman include, I don't know, looking in the mirror and seeing that I look like a woman. There's that song, Man, I Feel Like a Woman, I think. I don't know what sparked that song, actually. Have I always wanted to be a woman, says Ronyu. You know, normally I don't get into this level of detail on the stream. Normally I say go to the Discord, but it's not like we're in the middle of anything here. I don't know. Chat, should I indulge these questions, or should I send them to the Discord? Okay, sure, let's answer the questions. Have I always wanted to be a woman? I would say yes. Yes, I would say yes. It's a feeling that sort of came and went, time to time, but is always there to some degree. Now, that's a very different question than what makes me feel that I am a woman, because for a long time I thought people who transition, these are people who feel like they are their sort of target gender already. And that is the story that we hear in the media. That's the story that a lot of people tell. I'm sure it's true of a lot of people. But it's not true of everyone. I have always been very, let's say, grounded in reality. You could say I've always been very correct about things. And it's impossible for me to observe myself, look at who I am, and say, this is a woman. There's something wrong with my body. Let's crack it open and get the woman out. What I have felt is that, oh, wouldn't it be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if not for this cruel twist of fate? Had I, you know, been born a different way. Reconciling that and realizing that that is the same way that a lot of people feel at the beginning, and then they decide to change it. That's what took me until now to do this, basically. Well, there's also being in a much better life position to do it, I think. That helped too. You know, I promised so many times that this would not turn into an Alphabet People stream, and yet, in the first 27 and 3/4 minutes of the stream, we've already watched the video, and I've answered probably 3 different questions about it. So I think maybe that's what we're doing the first segment here. Ruined, you said one less question, but it's a bit much of a question. All right, let's hear it. Glimmer, that's the skin that I was doing. The Ice Princess. Her name is Glimmer. I tried an Ice Princess look the other day, and I don't know if I quite pulled it off. Speaking of things I couldn't pull off, that blue lipstick is not easy to get off. Will I be having the surgery? Or have I already had it, or am I not going that far? That's a great question, Renegio. That's a very personal question. But you know what? The answer is I don't know. It could have already happened. How would I know? I don't know how you even tell that sort of thing. But I do have a consultation for a particular surgery. Do I want to say which one it is? Or do I want to leave that a mystery? Mr. Voice, do I say which one it is?
Yes, and it's good!
Okay, fine. I do have a consultation for facial feminization surgery next year. No, it's this year now. It's 2023. I have it in 2023. But it's not for several months. And the surgery itself would not be for a year after that. And it's possible, it's very unlikely, but it's possible that I will progress enough down that road that I won't even need it. Who knows? Possible. I guarantee it's not going to happen, but it theoretically could. The cruel irony here is that I was born with such a chiseled jaw, such a Chad-like face, that women have just been throwing themselves at me for my entire life. I've had to wear a catcher's mask every time I go outside because they can't stop throwing themselves in my face, which has been such an asset for, my whole life. And now I gotta do something. I gotta say good day to it. I didn't nerf myself, exactly. Yeah. If only I could donate all that Chadliness to some poor, undeserving, I don't know what the opposite of Chad is. There should be a name, shouldn't there? If only I could donate it to some poor, less manly chap out there. But I don't think it works that way. They won't let you take home a lot of your now spare parts when you get surgery. They really should. I'm in various Discords and stuff with Alphabet people talking about this sort of thing. And every time someone says, oh, I just got the surgery, everyone else is like, oh, did they let you take your balls home? Everyone wants them. They never get to. I know, Mr. Mulder. It's bullshit, isn't it? I mean, they belong to you. Right? I mean, normally people don't expect that, but I bet if you went to the barber and you're like, you're going to cut off a bunch of hair, I know, and normally you just sweep it into the floor vacuum or something, but can I take my extra hair home? I bet they'd let you do it, right? Don't people's wives own them? True, yeah, they keep them locked in a jar on top of the fridge where they can't reach. I guess if their husband is shorter than them. You don't know if you remember well or not, do I have a wife? I do. I do, yes. Would it be appropriate to ask what's her opinion on this situation? She is incredibly supportive. I probably wouldn't have done it if she weren't. I would say, actually, the night that I told her was the best night of our relationship. And that was this year. Well, it was last year. Within the last 12 months. We've been married for over 10 years, and we dated for probably 4 years before that, so... it was the best, yeah. And, so she's always been a little frustrated that so many of the things that we have in common, our hobbies and stuff we do together, like I've been doing them for a long time and I'm pretty good at them. I'm a few years older than her, so I have more experience doing everything. But now finally we have a common interest that she is way better than me at. And now she gets to hold that over me. Honestly, if we're happy with the way things are, you don't see any problem with that? Oh, good. I'm glad you approve of our relationship. It's good to see me happy. Well, thanks. You're not the first person to say that. I don't notice the change in my affect that much myself, but apparently other people do. It's confirmation that this is the right choice, which... Not that I needed that, but... It's good to have in case one day I feel insecure about it or something. The great thing, one of the surprising, unexpected benefits of it is that here on Twitch, it's something for the trolls to go straight to. and I have no insecurity about it, and no doubt, and that means that it doesn't get to me, and so they go straight for that, and I can just, disassemble them. Oh, so another interaction of all this business with the stream. So I thought for a long time, should I change my name? People do that. The name that I was born with can be a feminine name, spelled differently, but pronounced the same. And I thought that'll be convenient if I just keep that, then I won't have to tell anyone to do anything different. I'll have to correct the spelling a bunch of places, but half the time people misspelled it anyway, so I'll just have to stop correcting them. And then I thought, I should probably have some separation, make a change just for the sake of making a change so it feels like a change. But what am I going to call it? What am I going to call me? And I had a whole system. I put together a spreadsheet, ranked a bunch of names by a bunch of different factors, and nothing really stood out to me. And then it hit me. I have been hearing people call me Tara on the stream for 3 years. I've gotten used to hearing that. My wife's gotten used to hearing that. Why don't I just change my name to Tara? So that's what I did. I can't give you guys all the credit. It was a name that I had on my list, largely because of the stream, but for other reasons. When I was a kid, I used to watch the Attack of the Killer Tomatoes cartoon, which was on the air for like one season. No one remembers it, but it was that time of my life when I was watching a lot of cartoons and remembering all of them. So it's stuck in my mind. And there was a character on that show named Tara, who was a tomato that turned into a girl. And I thought, how fitting. I'm a tomato, and I could turn into a girl.